what is a small number, then it's going to be a piece of cake for you. Okay? So we're going to talk about the yield questions. I'll give you some easy ones first. We'll warm up, and then we'll get to a bit more complicated ones. So it's all how you read the question. It's all how you read the question. It's all about that. So calculate the effective annual rate. So again, you need by now, hopefully I brainwashed you enough on that part. And if they say an effective annual rate, what does that mean to you? That is your J what? That's your J1. Okay? So an effective rate of interest, which is equivalent to J2 equals 12. So they say calculate this. So what they're looking for is they say, can you find the J1? You have a J2, but can you find the J1? Can you do that? Of course you can. That's the easy part. So basically, whatever they ask you on the left is what you're looking for. Whatever you have on the right is what you have. Okay, so whatever is the beginning of the question is what they're looking for. Okay, so I'm looking for J1. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, and I have the J2 equals 12. Okay, so this is what I have right now. This is what I'm looking for. Can we do the conversion? Of course we can. It's easy. Right? We've been doing a lot of those conversions. So what are you going to do? You're going to do 12, then 2, nothing, and then 1. And whatever you get in here, that will be your J1. Okay, but what is the effective, by the way? What's effective? Effective also J1. So those two numbers will be matching. But if you just want to look and see, so how much would be my rate in J1? You can always stop right here if you're just looking, if you have nothing else to do after this. Okay, but if you need to finish the full question and that's going to be part of something else, then you better finish the full unpattern. Okay, so let's do this. Go slow with me. I know we've done a lot of unpattens. So do 12 shift norm, okay, and then do 2 shift PIR and press shift effective. When you press shift effective, right now I see 12.36. Hey, that's what I see right now. Okay. Then I'm going to continue. I'll press 1 shift PIR and then shift num, and it comes up again to 12.36. And what's this? This is still a J1. How do I know? Because my PIR is 1. That means it's a J1 equals 12.36. Do you follow me on that? So in this question, just because I just had to look and see how much would be in J1, I could have just stopped right here. Could I? Of course I can. I can just look up and here, press shift effective. As soon as I press shift effective, it just shows my rate in J1. Or you can do the full unpattern. It's up to you. Okay. But that's what they're looking for. It's pretty simple one. So if I look back at the answers, I froze for a second, but if I look back at the answers, you're looking for your answer, and I don't see it, and that's why I was like, huh? Right? None of the above is the one, because it should be 12.36. Okay, so that's good. That was funny. Okay, next one, question 14. On an interest accruing mortgage, what does accruing stands for? And accruing for you means there's no payments, right? So payment equals 0. You should know by now. Which of the following interest rates will result at the highest outstanding balance? This is not a real math question, so we don't have to do much math in here. But remember what I told you? When somebody is looking towards the lender's profits, how does the lender make more money? Or the investors, how do they make more money? The more compounding they put in. So you see how every single of those answers have the same interest rate, which is good, okay? If they were different one, then we will have to do something. But in this case, they're all the same. And the only difference is between the compounding. So if they're referring to how much is the lender, or how much is the investor, or how much is the highest outstanding balance will be, that means how much more money do you have to pay? Of course, it's with the highest compounding. So the more they compound the rate, the more money they will make from you. But as a borrower, of course, you want to go for the lowest compounding because you know that you will pay less, okay? So when they refer in like this question, they say, what would result in the highest outstanding balance? That means it's the lender who is making more profit from you because you're not paying off your mortgage much because you had such a high rate of interest and with such a high compounding that by the time you finish with your term, you still have so much more money left to pay, right? So the highest outstanding balance. So the more compounding they charge you, the more outstanding balance you will have and the more money you still owe to the bank, okay? Because you're pretty much paying off nothing. So for that reason, you would choose the highest compounding out of all of them. 15, given a nominal rate, now it's nominal, that's a big number, of interest of 15.756. The greater the frequency of the compounding, the higher the yield to the lender. So the more the frequency, you remember how it works, the more they compound that rate to you. So if you're going to go get a credit card and suddenly they tell you that they will charge you a daily compounding, then what do? You run, okay? That's what you do. Because the higher the compounding, the greater the frequency of the compounding, the higher the yield to the lender. That means the more money the lender will make from you, right? If the greater the frequency of the compounding, the higher the yield to the lender. You just have to know it, that the lender loves stuff like this. Question 16. The investor plans to pay $200,000 for the vacant lot that he feels will sell at the end of the 3 years for $280,985.60. What effective annual interest rate, you should know by now this one, will the investor earn? Ignore the real property taxes. Just ignore all this extra information. Okay, but keywords is the asking for the effective annual interest rate. So what does that mean to you? That is your J1. You'll see a lot of that effective stuff in here. So what do we have in here? We have the investor. Okay, we have an investor who has $200,000 and he wants to make in 3 years that $280,000. So I'll just put this money in for now so you can see them. So we have 200,000 PV. We have 280,000. 985.60 plus minus future value. We have a J1 that they're looking for. Okay. And we have it at the end of 3 years. So the end is 3 years. Okay. So this is all I have at this point. They gave a J1. So because now we're starting to, remember how I said now we're going to have no comfort zone? We don't have the initial box to start. Why? Because we're looking for it now. So now they switched the story for you. And some people says, oh my gosh, it just felt so comfortable with this. I know. That's what happens. So now they're looking for this side. So you still have to use it as much as you can. We know we have no payments in this question because that is an investor who's just putting the money in and he's making the money. Okay? So I'm going to put my 3 dots because I still want to make sure that I'm sticking to my frequencies, make sure that everything is matching. So right now I have no payments, so the only thing I have to match up is my N to my PYR. Okay? In this question, they're looking for J1. So can I put 1 and my, oh my, can I put 1 in my PYR? Yes, I can. Why? Because I have no payment, so I have nothing to match up to. I'm still kind of happy at some point, right? So the only thing I have to match up is my N to my PYR. And my N is in years, so PYR could be definitely 1 with no issue. If you're asking me for 12, that's fine. I'll put 12 in here and I'll do 3 times 12. So as long as my N and PYR and my payments are the same frequency, then the question is going to be okay. But if PYR is 1, that means everything will come up as annually, including my rate. So let's do this right now. We're going to start with PYR. We copy calculators, so do 1 shift PYR. PYR is under your payment key. Then I can do 3 shift N. It's not going to hurt me. It's still going to calculate it as 3. Okay? So it's not going to change it to anything else. IYR, I'm skipping because that's what I'm looking for. Okay? And I'm going to continue. I'm going to put 200,000 PV. 0 plus minus PMT. 280,000. 985. 60. Plus minus future value. Okay? PYR, make sure you plug it in. If you don't do this, it's nothing going to work for you. Okay? And then what do you do now? You press your IYR. What is this IYR? It shows you in inches per year. That means it's showing you the big number. And I got on my screen right now, I got 12. That's what I got. Okay, so what is this? How do you know what frequency you are in? It's the same thing when you were doing the NPEP, and I always say, how do you know what frequency you're in? Look at your PYR. In this case, you're going to do the exact same thing. So how do I know what this is? Now, first of all, if the number shows up in here, it tells you that is a nominal rate. It tells you that's a big number, okay? So it tells you that is a J12. That's what you got so far. But in here, how do you know what you have in here? Look back at your PYR. So if you have 1 in PYR, that means that is a J1 equals 12. That's what you have right now, okay? That's what you have right now. How do you double check? How do you know if it's J1? This is something new. This is what I'm going to be teaching you right now. I want to make sure that you can always double check on yourself. And if I need to know if my rate is in J1, what I have to do, I have to press Shift, Effective. Every time, no exception, just to double check on myself. The effective is this key, right? That one. So press right now, while you have that 12 on you, press Shift, press Effective, okay? And when you press Effective, that 12 should not change on you. Why? Because it's already in J1, so it's not changing to anything else in there. But if you just want to double check every time, it says, am I in J1? Just press Shift Effective. Shift Effective. And Shift Effective is what takes you to that J1 every time you want to look at it, okay? So 12 is the answer what we're looking for because they want in J1, okay? So option number 3. Question 17. Smile & Sue purchased a townhouse in March 1987 for $62,000. March 1982, it was appraised for $140,000. In March 1995, Smile & Sue sold the townhouse for $122,000. What was the pre-tax yield, or fancy words, on her investment expressed as an effective annual rate? Pre-tax yield, I don't care. Right? They can put all this fancy stuff on you, but all I care about is my rate, and it says it's an effective annual rate, so that means they're looking for J1. That's all I'm looking for, okay? Smile & Sue, good for her. She bought it, she appraised it, and then she sold it. Because we have the 3 numbers in here, you need to figure out which one do you use. So if she bought it, then that $62,000 will be her present value. She bought it, okay? And she's not planning to do any payments in this question, and then it was appraised, and then it was sold. So which number would you use as your future value? She bought it for 62. 62 is your PV, okay? That's your present value. But now you need to know which one would you use as your future value. So if one day your mom comes to you and says, oh, honey, I think your property is worth this much, would that matter? So anything to do with appraisal, you're also going to cross it off because it doesn't matter. They can appraise for whatever they want. What matters is how much it was actually sold for, and it was sold for 122. So you will use that number as your future value. Don't get confused. They do it on purpose. They always give you a lot of extra information. Okay. So now what do we do now? You have to find. We're looking for the J. We're looking for J1. Okay, that's what we're looking for. We have no payments in here, so we could be happy. We could be happy. Okay, but I still need to make sure that I have my N because this way I can match it up to my PYR. Do we have the N? What do we have? We have the bought. She bought it 1987, and then she sold it. When did she sell it? 1995. Okay, so what do? Do your math if you need to. 1995 minus 1987. Okay, it should be 8 years. That's what that is, right? So sometimes they hide it away from you, and I do this on purpose. I actually calculate it because a lot of times they'll give you 7 and 8, right? So I don't trust anymore. I just do my math. So I know it's going to be 8 years that you have that investment for. So my N is 8 years. So if that's years, can I keep my PYR as 1? Yes, I can. Right? So they're looking for J1. PYR is 1. N is in years. Perfect. I'm happy. Everything is matching. So let's do this. Start with PYR. You can't do impedance here. Do you see that? So you start with the foundational key. So 1 shift PYR. Okay, PYR is under your payment. N. You can do 8 shift N. It's not going to hurt you. Just do 8N. It will come up as 8. Okay, every time the N is given to you in years, I just want you to do the shift. So this way you always stay consistent. IYR, we're looking for that. So I'm skipping my IYR for now. Okay, PV 62,000. PV. 0 plus minus payments, 122,000. plus minus future value. Make sure that P by R is in. If it's not in, nothing will work for you. And then you press your I by R. When you press the I by R, mine came up to 8.8293 something. Okay, so that's my rate. Okay, but how do you know if it's J1? Look back at your P by R. So if your P by R is 1, that is a J. So that is a J1 that is equals to 8.83. So that is a J1. Okay, but how do you double check? How do you double check on this? What do you do in your calculator? You press Shift Effective. When you press Shift Effective, what does Shift Effective does? It's this one, right? I want to make sure that you press Shift Effective to double check. Shift Effective. And when you press Effective, it converts to J1. So if you already had it in J1, then it's not going to change on you. Always do this as a habit. That's a great habit for you to check on yourself. So option 2 is the answer. So far, how's the yields? So the only thing about the yields that you don't have the initial boxes. You don't have this to start. You cannot do the impedance when it comes to the yields. Okay? Question 18. An investor has negotiated to purchase a piece of raw land for $375,000. The investor believes that the land will increase substantially in value, and at the end of the 3 years, the land will sell for $483,400. What's the yield expressed as an effective annual rate? Hopefully, that effective annual rate is already sticking in your mind. Well, he can earn on his investments. Okay, so we bought it for $375,000. We can sell it for $483,000. $375,000 will be your present value. $483,400 will be your future value. He'll put the money for 3 years. Anything else that we have in here? And we have J1 that we're looking for, okay? So we will assume there is no payments, okay? So far, that's all we have. They want J1. So if there is no payments, we are happy, but make sure that your N and your P by R are in the same frequency. So if they want J1 and N is given to us 3 years, you definitely can put that 1 as is. Nice and simple. So start with P by R. Put 1 shift P by R. Then you're going to do 3 shift N, okay? I want you to get used to the shift N all the time. If it's in years, it will come up as 3 is not changing. 375,000 PV. 0 plus minus payment, 483,400 plus minus future value. P by R, don't forget about it. If you haven't, plug it in now. And then you press your I by R. So you're looking for the I by R key in here. Okay? My I by R came up to 8. Is that what you got? How do you double check if it's J1? You press Shift Effective. And then when you press Shift Effective, okay, press Shift Effective, it should stay back at the same number. It should not change it on you. Okay? So that was the easy question. Not bad. So let's look at the next one. What is the nominal rate of interest compounded semi-annually that is equivalent to 11.5 per annum compounded monthly? And this is such an easy question, but a lot of people get confused because they don't know what they have and what they're looking for. They're like, I don't know which one I have and which one do I have to find in here. Keep it simple. Whatever is on the left, whatever is in the beginning of the question. So if they ask you, what is, okay, and whatever they're asking you for, up to here, this is what they're looking for, okay? So whatever is the first thing they ask in the question, that's what they're looking for. Whatever is at the end of the question is what we have, okay? So what are they looking for? Nominal, all it means is a big number. They're not looking for a periodic rate. They're looking for nominal, okay? Compounded semi-annually. So they're looking for the J2. So they want the J2. This is what they want, okay? And that is equivalent to 11.5. Some people don't understand how that works. You take 1 divided by 2, that will give you 0.5, right? And then you add 11 to that. So 11.5% per annum, compounded monthly. So always remember how I told you, watch for the rates. When you look at it, the rate comes up first. It says per annum, then there's a comma, then it's a compounding. So when you have the rate that's given to you, you always have the rate, okay? Then there's a comma, and after comma, it gives you that little compounding stuff. So the interest rate, right, comma, and then it's compounding. So that's how the rate is given to you. So what we have 11, so compounded monthly, so we have J12 equals 11.5. So this is what we have, right? And what we're looking for is for the J2. So I should actually reverse them. I'll put it, what we have is monthly 11.5. And what we're looking for is for the J2. Okay, so that's better. So we stay consistent. Okay, so J12 what we have and J2 what we're looking for. Okay, so we have to take that and convert it to J2. So what you have to do UNPEP and stuff, right? That's the simple part. So 11.5. And then 12 is what we have. We're going to convert it to what we're looking for. We're looking for that 2 P by R. Okay, so let's do that right now. So 11.5 shift nom. Okay, 12 shift P by R, shift effective. And then 2 shift P by R, shift nom. And mine came up to 11.77. So what's this? That is your J2. Because my last P by R was 2. So that is a J2 equals 11.77. Okay, so you take what you have and you convert it to what they want. We have quite a lot of those questions to practice with. What is the monthly rate of interest equivalent to 15 per annum compounded monthly, compounded annually? Okay, so what's the monthly rate of interest equivalent to? So can I keep it simple for you? I'll draw the line. Every time I have the rate, I'll just draw the line, just like that, okay? Whatever they ask you what is what they're looking for. They want the monthly rate, okay? And whatever's on the other side, that's what I have. So right now I have 15% compounded annually, which is J1. So I have a J1 equals 15. Whatever comes up after the percentage is what the percentage comes with. So that's 15 per annum, comma. Remember how I say the percentage comes up first, then after that shows it's compounding. So we have 15 per annum compounded annually. So J1 equals 15 is what we have. And what do we want? Monthly rate. Are they looking for nominal or are they looking for every single month's rate? Do you see the difference? So when I say monthly rate, look at those answers in here. You see how tiny they are? If I do any conversions, so if I convert everything to monthly, so let's see if I convert it to J12, okay, my rate is not going to go far. Remember how we do in PEPs? I always say double check on yourself. If I start with 15 and 1 and I convert it to 12, okay, it's going to be close to 15. It's going to come up to 14 point something. And that 14 point something will be a nominal. That means it's how much they charge you for the full year. But when they're referring to monthly, how much per each month, or how much per each quarter, how much is per something per each, they're referring to that small number. It's your job to learn how to read the questions properly, right? So if you just look at the answer, you see how tiny they are? That means they're referring per every single month. They want that periodic rate, right? So first what we have to do, we have to find a big number first, because there's no way that you can take that and divide it by 12. Can you do that? No, you can't, because you can only take the rate divided by its compounding. So first we need to find a big number. Okay, so let's convert it first. 15 shift norm, 1 shift PYR shift effective, and then 12 shift PYR shift norm. Comes up to 14.0579 something, okay? So this is your rate that you got in here. It should be a long number in there. Now what's this? Look at your last PYR. That is your J12 equals 14.75. So right now we got this. What is that telling you? So what it is this. If I had to draw the line for the full year, okay, they're charging you 14.05 and they're charging that to you 12 times, right? So 12 times of the compounding in here. But for the full year, it's 14.05. Okay, that's what it stands for. So if I say to you, how much is per every single month, then what do? You take this 14.05 and then you divide it by its compounding. So you need this compounding to divide by. So you take 14.05 and then you're going to divide it by 12. Good job. Right? And that will take you to that, how much they charge you per every single month. So take that 14.05, whatever you have on your screen right now, divide it by 12, press equals, and might come up to 1.1749, blah, 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 right? So it's the option number 4. So every month they charge you 1.17, right? So this is what's happening right now. But for the full year is 14.05. Question 21, what is the effective annual rate of interest? They're looking for J1. That is equivalent to. So whatever they say equivalent to, again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to draw the line, okay? Whatever they want, what is what they want. That's what they're looking for. So they're looking for the J1, effective annual rate, okay? That's what they're looking for, okay? And what I have after is what's given to me. So I have 11.5 per annum compounded daily. So what I have is 365, okay, equals 11.5. That's what's given to me. And I'm looking for the J1. Do you follow me on that part? So whatever is the first is, what is what they're looking for, okay? So they're looking for J1. So I need to take my J365 and I have to convert it to J1. So let's do the conversion. 11.5, 365. And when I do conversion, if I just want to look, I can just stop right here because effective is my J1 anyways, okay? But let's do that right now. So I'll do 11.5 shift norm, then 365 shift PYR shift effective. And when I press shift effective, I already got 12.1853, right? So that's what I got in there. And if I press 1 shift PYR shift norm, I'm still going to get to the same answers in there, okay? I got to the same 12.185311, whatever that is, right? It's a long number. So that is the J1. How do I know if it's J1? PYR is 1. So right now, this is what I did. I converted my rate to J1, right? And I got 12.83. So again, you can stop right here if you just want to look and you have nothing else to do. If that was just your question, you could have stopped, okay? Or you can do the full impairment. It's up to you. Okay, so option number 1 in here. Question 22, the effective annual rate of interest for 19.5-8% per annum compounded monthly is. People look at the question and says, I have no clue what they're looking for, and that's okay. So remember the rule is whatever is on the left is what they want, that's what they're looking for. Whatever is on the right is what you have. And the only way that you know what you have, if you draw the line, whatever comes before the rate is what they're looking for. Whatever comes after the rate is what you have. Now, the other question people said, but what is this 19.5-8 thing? Like, how do we convert that? It's 19.625, right? So what you do, you take your first number divided by the second number and plus the rate. That's what you do. So you're going to do 5 divided by 8. So do that right now, 5 divided by 8. Okay, will come up with 0.625, as long as I believe, right? And then you do plus 19 to that, and it will come up to 19.625. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to get in there. Let me just double check. 5 divided by 8. Yes, okay. So perfect. So that's the rate how you're supposed to have it. So it should be 19.625. Okay, so my question to you, 19.625. So my question is, what do you have? Is that a J1 19.625 or is that a J12 19.625? How does the rate express itself? So if I go back and if I had to show you how the rate expresses, the rate comes up first, then there's a comma, and after comma goes its compounding. Remember how many times I asked you to pay attention, right? So the rate always comes up first. It will say whatever the rate is per annum, comma, compounded this. So what you have is 19.625 compounded monthly. So that means you have it as a J12. Okay, that's what you have. But what they're looking for is the effective rate, effective annual rate. That's what they're looking for. Okay, so they want the J1. That's what they're looking for. So right now they're not matching. So what do? You're going to convert it from J12 to J1. And the only way for you to do this is through the MPEPN. You can do all of it or you can do half of it. It's up to you as long as you understand what you're doing. So if I put it in here, I can just do press shift effective or I can do the full thing. It's up to you. Okay, so 19.625 shift norm and then 12 shift PYR shift effective. And mine came up to 21.4900, blah, blah, blah. That is a J1 because my PYR is 1. Okay, so that should be option number 4. Fun. Let's do question 23. Now, this is not the best question. I hope you're not going to have this on the exam. So now here they kind of look, it looks like a normal written question, but it's a math question. You have to figure out what they want. So they say the effective annual rate of interest for 10% per annum compounded semi-annually is. So first of all, they're looking for that J1. Remember what I told you? Whatever they have in the beginning of the question is what they're looking for, okay? And what they give you in this question is a J2 equals 10%. And we need to convert it to J1, okay? To see how much it comes up to. And this J1 we're going to take and we're going to compare it to all of the answers. So that's what they want. So they say the effective rate, if you convert that to J1, and then you can compare if it's greater, if it's lesser, whatever that is. Okay, so how are we going to do this? I'll use the top box in there just to use for our J2 equals 10. And we're going to convert it to J1. So 10 to effective. You can do the full and back on the half of it. Doesn't really matter. We're just looking for things. So 10 shift norm, 2 shift PYR, shift effective. It comes up to 10.25. Okay, so this is what I got for my J1. If I took my J2 equals 10% and I convert it to J1. So I'll highlight it because that's going to be my foundational J that I have to take everything and compare that to. Okay, so I'll take that now and I'll compare that to every single answer. So now if I look at the answers, this first answer is given to me in the same way. So they say effective rate, which is J1, that we have to convert it from J semi-annually, J2 equals 9. So they gave us, and it's option number 2, they gave us J2 equals 9. And they want us to compare the J1 to the first J1 that we found. Okay, so let's take this. So J2 equals 9. J2 equals 9, and we're going to take this, and we're going to convert it back to J1 to compare, okay? So we need that in J1. So 9 shift norm, 2 shift PYR shift effective, and it came up to 9.2025, okay? So if I took that 9.20, sorry, so that's my J1 that my option number 1 has, okay? So if I take, let me take a different color, okay? So if I take this and I compare it to this, I know that this one is higher than this. So option 1, it says if I take my effective annual rate and compare it to anything else, it will be greater than the effective rate of option number 1. So that is a true statement. So far I know option 1 is true. Okay, I know that's true, but because it says all of the above, I have to work with more questions. So I'll do the same thing for the second option and for the third option. Second option, it says more than effective annual rate of 10% compounded annually. Thanks God, we don't have to do much work on there. So they want me to convert that. So it's already converted to J1. So J1 equals 10, and it says that this effective rate will be more than this, and that's true because it's definitely higher than this one. Okay, so for that reason, option 2 is also true. And option 3, it says it's less than the effective rate of 10% compounded monthly. So we have to take that monthly. So much work. So we have to take this monthly rate of J12 equals 10%, convert it to J1, and then compare that. Okay, so let's see what happens here, because I want to take this one now and compare it to the last one. So how do I do this? As usual, I'll take it as J12, like that. So I'm going to take 10 shift norm, 12 shift PYR shift effective. I'll do that right now. So 10 shift norm, 12 shift PYR shift effective, and mine come up to 10.471, right? So that's what I got in here. And they say that this J1 equals 10.25. It's less than this. And it's true because it's lower than that. So 10.47 would be higher than that. For that reason, it should be all of the above is true statements. Oh my gosh. So as I said, hopefully you're not going to get this question in the exam. But if it comes to you, you'll figure out. Okay, you'll figure out. I'm sure you will. Now let's do the good stuff. Let's do the real math questions. We like those ones more. Question 24. An investor plans to pay $200,000 for the vacant lot that he will sell at the end of the 3 years for $280,985.60. What is the monthly interest rate the investor will earn? Okay, so this is a good question. It's a very common question in the exam. We like those ones. So what do we have in here? We have an investor who wants to pay $200,000. So that $200,000 will be his present value. Okay, we have the money. We'll put them in. Then he's planning to sell it for in 3 years. So N is 3 for $280,985.60 plus minus future value. What is the monthly interest rate? Now look what I highlighted in there for you. There's a reason for that. Because monthly interest rate, guys, is that a small number or big number? Are they looking for the nominal rate or they're looking for every single month rate? If I say monthly rate or if I say interest per every single month, I'm looking for that periodic rate. How much per each period? But if I say what's a nominal rate or what's the annual rate, then that will be your full IYR thing, right? That's the big one that we find in here. So, but because I'm looking for the monthly rate, first I need to find the big nominal and then take that big nominal divided by 12 to get to that every single month. Okay, so let's keep it simple for now. Let's just get to what we're looking for. So in order for me to get to the monthly rate, I still have to find the J12. I have to find the J12 first. I have to find this big number first. I have to find it. And when I find this big number, then I'll take that number and divide it by 12 to get to that every single month's number. Okay, investor, he's not doing any payments, so we'll assume payments are 0. Okay, that's happy. Okay, that's good. So let's continue. So payments, PYR, and the N have to be in the same frequency. If my N is in years, PYR should be 1, or when I have no payments, I can match it up to what they want, and that's easy, right? So when we're happy, I'll take this 12 and I'll put it in my PYR right now. And if I put 12 in my PYR, that means everything will be monthly, including my N. It's easy to keep everything in the same consistency of what they're looking for if we have no payments, okay? So plug in PYR in first, so plus 12 shift PYR. 12 shift PYR. PYR is under your payment key. Then you do 3 shift N. You have to do the shift N in here because it will multiply it by 12. And it'll come up as 36. Okay, then you're going to plug in your present value, 200,000 PV, 0 plus minus payments, 280, 985, 60, plus minus future value. So far I plugged them all in. Make sure that you don't forget about the PYR. That should have been your first key. And then we're looking for the IYR. So press your IYR. Let's press the IYR and see how much it comes up to. Mine came up to 1138. 6 something. Okay, so that's what I got, 11.386. Okay, so my first question to you, first of all, is that a big number or is that a small number? How do you know? Look at this, IYR, an interest per year. So whatever comes up in here, that is your annual rate. That's your nominal. You can never find a small number in here. So that means I can express it as a letter J. I'll put it as 11.38, just like that, right? But my question is, what is this? Is that a J1, J2, J12? How do you know? Look back at your PYR. If your PYR is monthly, that is your J12 that you just found, okay? So right now I have a J12 equals 11.38. So basically, this is what it is. So for the full year, they're charging me 11.38, but it's a monthly compounding. So what are they looking for? They say, how much is the monthly rate? They're not looking for nominal because that would be that. They say, how much for each month? So what do? You take this big number, then you divide it by its compounding. That's all you do. So divide it by 12 to get to a small number, and mine come up as a 0.94, right? It's the exact same as the option number 1. So if I take this divided by this, it comes up to 0.94, okay? And that's how you find that every single month's rate. Question 25, George. Write your purchase and mortgage contract, which will provide him with a 16 monthly payments of 956. The outstanding balance of the loan will be 89.90. Will be paid on the same day as the 60th payment. If George pays 75,689 for this contract, what is the yield expressed as a monthly periodic rate? So that's your keyword. That's what you're looking for. So yield is just a percentage, monthly periodic rate. So how does that sound to you? Does that sound like a big number or a small number to you? It's definitely a small number. So when I say a nominal rate, that's big. If I say interest per annum, that's big. But when I say monthly or quarterly, that means they're talking about the small stuff, talking about the I frequency. Okay. So let's pull out the numbers, see what we have in here. So they talk about 60 months. So my question, can I put that 60 here? Why not? Because that's the frequency, how many payments per year. So all the other numbers goes in here. So if I say 60 months, that goes into the N. And if my N is 60 months, help me out, that means my payments and my PY are also going to be in months, right? So now everything has to be because my N is already in months. Let's continue. What else do we have? Monthly payments of 956. So that helps. That's good. Payments are monthly. Okay. Payments are monthly. N is monthly. So far, so good. Let's continue. What else? Now we have 2 mortgages. So my question to you, which one is a future value one? Future value. How do you know? The future value will say there's an outstanding balance of. Okay, so when they say there's an outstanding balance of, that's considered to be as a future value. That means you're still paying off. So don't look to see which one is larger, which one is smaller one. In this case, it's opposite. He borrowed less money, he owes more. Horrible mortgage, right? So 89,900 plus minus, that's your future value because there's an outstanding balance of. And then the mortgage itself is 75,689. Okay. They're looking for that periodic monthly. So first we have to, even if we're looking for the small number, we still have to find the big rate first, but it has to be expressed as monthly. So we're looking for the J12. Actually I12, but we're looking for the 12. That's what we're looking for, okay? Payments frequency are monthly. So far, we are happy because those 2 frequencies, they are matching, okay? So that means that 12 can be safely plugged in into the PYR, and that's exactly what we want because my N is in months, my payment is in months, my PYR also has to be 12, okay? So let's start with your last key, which is your PYR key. Let's put this one in. So 12, shift PYR. PYR is under your payment key. How do you enter the N? Do you do 60 shift N or do you do 60 N? 60N because it's already in months. Make sure that 60 does not change to any other number. It should be 60 with lots of zeros. Skip IYR. Put your 75,689 PV, 956,000 plus minus payment, and then 89.90. Make sure that you don't forget about that 900. Right, 89,900 plus minus future value. So make sure all the numbers are in. Make sure that PYR is definitely in. And after you plug all the keys, press your IYR. Mine came up to 17.52. That's what I got. 17.52. Okay. What's this 17.52? So what is this? That is your J1. How do you know? Look back at your PYR. So if PYR was 12, that is your J12 equals 17.529. Is that what they're looking for? For the whole year, basically, they're charging you 12 times interest rate, and for the whole year, they're charging you this. Okay, this is what they're charging you, 17.52. But if I'm looking for a nominal rate, whatever you find in that box, that's nominal. But if I want monthly, then what do? You take this big number, and then you divide it by 12. Divide it by its compounding. So you take 17.529, whatever that number you have on your screen, keep the full number on. Divided by 12 equals, how much did it come up to? What did you get? Comes up as 1.46. Okay, so that's what I got. I got 1.46. So make sure that when you take the percentage, when you divide it, don't cut it off. Don't just do 529 or something, because otherwise you're not going to get the full answer, right? Keep the full number on your screen, whatever you have in there, and then take that full number divided by 12. Okay, and only then it will show you that tiny little number, and that's how much they charge you per every single month. So in this question, outstanding balance off, that's your future value. Monthly periodic rate, when you see that periodic rate, definitely becomes a small number. Sometimes they'll say monthly rate, which means exact same thing, right? So it's monthly means small. Question 26. The contract payment mortgage is written at 148,951.77 and specified payments of 1537.3 per month for 25 years. The interest rate of this mortgage is. Now, this is a tricky question because now you have quite a lot of information inside of the question, but then you have to take every single answer that's given to you and convert it to what you want. Okay, so let's start with the question. We have a mortgage. Mortgage is 148,000, so we're gonna put that as a present value. So 148,951.77. Payments are 1537.03 plus minus for 25 years amortization, and the interest rate of the mortgage will be. So here in this question, they give us no interest rate at all. They're not looking for a specific one. We just have to convert to all of them. And that's kind of this is where it gets fun. Okay, future value is not given to you, so you will assume it's a 0. So what we're going to do right now, we'll keep everything to match up to the payments frequency because my payments right now per month. So if my payments are per month, my PYR has to be 12. I think reasonably. Right? So if my payments are monthly, PYR has to be 12, and this 25 years will be changed to 25 shift N to 300 months. Okay, so let's plug all the information in. Let's find the IYR. That's what we're going to do first. And then we're going to take this interest rate and convert it to what they want. So start from the bottom, do 12 shift PYR. Okay, then you're going to go on the top to 25 shift N. It will come up as 300 months because it will multiply 25 by 12. Skip the IYR. Put the PV, 148,951.77 PV. Mortgage payment is 1537.03 plus minus PMT. 0. Plus minus future value, and make sure that you plug in that PYR. This case is very important. Right? After you plug everything in, press the IYR, see how much it comes up to. Mine came up to 11.71. 11.7105. Okay? This is my number. So first question to you is always the same. What do you got on your screen right now? First of all, is that a nominal rate, or is that how much you charge you per every single month? Whatever you find in here, it's always in inches per year. It's always a big number. So that's a nominal rate. So what you have in here, that's your nominal rate. Okay, so what's your next job after this? You have to figure out, what is this? Is that a J what? Is that a J1, J2, J3? So what do you have in here? Okay, actually, I'm going to put it right here. So how do you know what you have in here? Look back at your PYR. So if your PYR is 12, that means that is a J12 equals 11.71. So this is what we found so far, right? So that's your J12 equals 11.71. That's a big number. Okay, so now we're going to look back at the answers and see, what do they want? They want it per a month. So my question, if this is a big number, that's how much they charge for the full year, right? So if I do this, 11.771, and I know that that's a monthly rate, so that's a J12 equals 11.71. So how much will be per every single month? Can I take this 11.71? Can I divide it by 12? How do you know? Look back at your PYR. If it's in 12, that means yes, you can go per every single month. But if I ask you how much per each quarter, can I take this 11.71, which is J12, and divide it by 4? No. I need to make sure my PYR is 4 before I get to quarterly. Do you see how it works? So it's always the PYR determines to show you what you're in and what you can do. So if it's monthly, then yes, I can find how much per every single month. So take this number, divide it by 12 right now and see how much it comes up to. So I'll take this 11.71, I'll divide it by 12, and when I divide it, it comes up to exactly this number. It comes up to 0.9758. So I took that divided by 12, and it comes up to this. So I know option 1 is true, but look, option 4 says all of the above, so you have to be really careful. What else can I do? So can I take this right now and divide it per day? Can I take that and divide it by 365? Yes or no? Why not? Because your PYR has to be in days before you can convert it, okay, before you can divide it by 365. So before we get there, let's finish option number 2 because that's the easy one, compounded annually. So how do you come back to this number again? Just press your IYR a couple of times. Just press the button IYR, press it, and then it will come back to that 11.71 again, okay? So when you get this number back on your screen, okay, now we can take that and convert it to J1. Remember what I told you? How do you convert things to J1? How do you check how much your rate is in J1? So right now, don't pop in your butt, watch me. Right now, this 11.71, okay, the whole number, it's already sitting in your interest rate. It's already in here. This 12 of yours is already in your PYR. So right now, you already have all that information. So if you just want to see how much is my rate is going to be in J1, then what do? You just press the shift effective. So do that right now. If you want to check and see how much is my rate is in J1, just press shift effective. Shift effective. And mine came up to 12.35999 something, right? So this is what I got in here. Is that matching? Yes, it is. So already in option 1 and option 2 is true. That means it should be all of the above that are true, right? So, but you see what I've done? So if I want to convert something to J1, I just press shift effective. Every time I do shift effective, it converts automatically to that J1. So now what if I want to check? Of course, I'm not going to just leave it like this, but what if you want to convert it to J365? What would you do? What would you do? Can you take that, and we want it per every single day, and divide it by 365? We already said no. Why? Because your PYR has to be in 365 before you can divide it by 365, okay? So right now I'm right here. What do I do now? Can I change my PYR now to 365? Yes, you can. So you can press shift effective again. It's not going to change. It's still going to stay at 12.35. Now let's change your PYR. How do we change PYR? We just put the new PYR in. So if I want to see daily, I'll do 365, shift PYR. So do right now. So 365, shift PYR. And I'll press shift nom. And mine come up to 11.655 something, right? So that's what I got in here. So if I took my annual rate and converted to 365, I got the 11.655. What's this? Is that a J what? That is a J365. How do you know if a J365? PYR is in 365 right now. So what I have in here, it's an annual rate because that's how much they charge me for the full year. So if I want to see how much is per every single day, then can I take this number and divide it by that 365? Are they in the same frequency? Yes, they are. So take this now, and now you can divide it by 365. Let's see how much it comes up to. It should match up the answer number 3. Divided by 365 equals, mine came up to 0.031933, blah, blah, blah. Right? And it's definitely matching this. Okay, so for the exams, you don't need to know all 3. Just pick the easy 2 ones. If they both match, then you would pick all of the above and be done with the question. A constant payment mortgage is written for $48,951.77. It specified payments of $520 per month for 15 years, and the interest rate of this mortgage is. So it's the same type of question. So your job, let's just pull up stuff out of the question first. We have 48,000, so 48,951.77. We have a payment of $520 per month, so we know payments frequency will be monthly. Okay, there's no future value in the question, and the N is given to us for 15 years. Okay, so I filled up all the information as I go through the question, so I know payments is monthly, so I'll already put the dots, okay, because I know my PYR has to be also 12, and my N is 15 years. I will multiply by 12, and it will come up to 180, because everything has to be on the same frequency. So let's find the IYR first, and then we're going to take that and convert it to what they want. Okay, so start from the bottom, put 12 shift PYR. 12 shift PYR is under your payment key. 15 shift N will come up to 180 months, so that's perfect. 48,951.77, that's a PV. 520 plus minus PMT, 0 plus minus future value. When you plug them all in, make sure PYR is also in, you press your IYR, and mine came up to 9.7978, okay? Blah, blah, blah. So you get the whole number in here. So what's this again? Is that a big number, yes or no? Yes, it is. Why? Because it's in inches per year. That's good. So what do you know about this rate? That is a J12 because PYR is 12. So I know this is my J12 equals, right? J12 equals 9.79. And now I can look back at the answers and see which one is the right one. I already see option 3 has my J12 9.79 in here. So now I have to take this and convert it to whatever they want. Okay. So right now, where is this 9.79 sits? In which button does it sit in? It sits in your IYR button, which is your nominal key. So you don't have to write it down, but just watch me, 9.79. The whole number right now, it sits in your nominal keys. It's in, okay? This 12 right now, it sits in your PYR, so it's already in. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to enter them in already because you already have that information. And if I want to take this rate and convert it to J1, can I just press effective? Yes, you can. So if I was looking for J1, you would just press shift effective and you would be done, okay? But in this question, they want a J2 or J4. So what do? I keep my rate as is. Then I press my shift effective because I have to, okay? And then I'm going to convert it to the first one, which is J4. Okay, and see how much it comes up to. So I'll keep everything as is. So I'll press shift effective. Shift effective is the first thing. It will come up as 10.25. Okay, do it right now. Comes up as 10.25. That's your J1. Then what do? Then you press 4 shift PYR. Okay, and then shift nom, and it comes up to 9.8780, blah, blah, blah. That is your J4 equals 9.8780, right? So this is what I got so far. So this is your J4. Let's see if it matches. No, it's not. It's completely different. So I know it cannot be all of the above because they are not matching, right? This number and that number is definitely not matching. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to try to do the same thing for the J2. Oh my gosh, I've done this one first, but let's do the J2 now. Let's do J2 and see how much that comes up to. So what I'm going to do again, I'm not going to redo the whole thing. Come back to J1. How do you come back to J1? You press shift, effective. You can always start your question from here because whatever the information you have in here, you can always convert it to J1. So if you press shift effective, you can press it once or twice, you'll come back to that 10.25. Do that right now, so press shift effective, okay? And when you press shift effective, it always comes out to the same, 10.25. And now what you can do, change your PYR to what they want. So now they wanted 2, so put that 2 as a new PYR, that's fine, let's do that. So 2 shift PYR, and then press shift nom, and see how much that comes up to. It comes up to 10.000. So that is a J2 equals 10 point something, okay? And what is the answer giving to me? It's 11.5. It's definitely way off too. So I know for sure it's only this that is the right answer in here. So for that reason, I would only pick option number 3 as my correct answer. I don't know if you like me or hate me at this point. 28. Mike, investor in mortgages, would prefer to earn which of the following yields? Who is Mike? This is the question. He is the investor. As an investor, you want to make more money or less money? Stupid question, but you know you want to make more money. As a lender, you want to make more money. As an investor, you want to make money. As a borrower, you want to pay less. So on the exam, they'll give you at least one question like this. It's a very easy question, to be honest. It's one of the best ones. And they will ask you, do you want to make money? So if it's investor, if he wants to invest, he wants to have the highest compounding, the highest rate, because then he'll make the most of the money. So how do you compare the rates when they're all different? They're all different here, and they all have different compounding. So what do? The easiest way for you to compare to see which one is the highest one is convert them all to J1. That's it. If you just convert every single option here to J1, then you can see which one is the highest and which one is the lowest one. So I'll take the first one, J2 equals 20, and I'll convert it to J1 right now. That's what I'm going to do right now. So let's see how much it comes up to. Okay, so from 2 to 1, that's my job. So that's what I'm going to do right now. 20 to nothing, and then I'm going to convert it to 1. Okay, so you can do half of the impairment if you want to, because it's the same thing. We're just looking. We have nothing else to do. So 20 shift nom, and then 2 shift PYR shift effective. It comes up as 21. 21.00, hey, same thing. So if I convert it to J1, the first option, it comes up as a J1 equals 21%. Okay. Second option is already in J1 and it says it's 21% too. Right. So far there's no differences. So I need to convert the last one and see what happens. So I'll take that one. Okay. So it's 21%. And I'll take this one and I'll convert it from 365 to J1 and see what comes up in here. So 19.25, 365, and then convert it to J1. Shift num, 365, shift PYR, shift effective. And my came up as a 21.2214. So I know, right? So the last one actually is the highest one because it came up as a 21.2214. So it's higher than all the other ones. For that reason, you would choose the option number 3 as the answer, right? Because it's the highest out of all 3. So when you compare something, you want to make sure that you all convert them to J1s, and then you can see what's highest, what's the lowest one, okay? Always compare them to convert them to J1. This is another easy question, same idea as what we just did. They give you 4 different types of loans, and you have to figure out which one is the highest, which one is the lowest one. It depends what they're asking you in the question. So put a star next to this one. On the exam, they always give you a question like that, and sometimes they'll ask you for the investor, sometimes they'll ask you for the borrower. So who do we have in this question? They say the investor has the opportunity, so it's the investor. So if you were the investor, do you want to have the highest rates or the lowest rates? Do you want to make more money or less money? More. So the investor is always looking for the highest rates, right, of return. So that's what we're going to be looking for. Look what happens. They all have different interest rates, and they all have different compounding. So how do we compare them? Convert them all to J1, all of them, except the last one's already in J1. But if you convert them all to J1, that's it. That's the easy part for you, okay? So I'm going to take one option at a time. I'll take each of them, and I'll convert them to J1. That's all I'm going to do right now, okay? So, and this way we'll know exactly how to compare them. So I'll just expand it a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, so loan A, we have J365 equals 13.25. We're going to convert it to J1. Okay, so 75221. Okay, so I just wrote it down for myself. It's kind of messy, but you can probably get through. Okay, so let's do the first one, 13.25, shift nom, 365, shift PYR, shift effective. When you press effective, it automatically changes to J1, and we can check and we can stop right here. So mine came up to 14.165. Okay, so that is the first conversion. So that's my J1 that comes up to. Okay, next one. Then I convert the J4 to J1. So 1350.198. Okay, so I already see that this is a higher one. So this is already better than the first one. Okay, let's continue with our loan C. We have 1375, shift nom, and then we have 2 shift PYR, shift effective, and it comes up to 14.226. And I see that this is even better than the other one. So I'm looking for the highest investment for him. And the last one, I already have it done. It's at J1 already, and it's 14.25. So if I look at this option and that option, I can see that that option is the highest out of all of them, because 14.25 is higher than 14.22. Okay, interesting, right? So they made us do all this work, but at the end of the day, the loan D, okay, was the best option for you as an investor. But if you were the borrower, which one would you choose? If I change the question and say, if you were the borrower, which one would you choose? Then you choose the lowest one. So out of all of the 4, 14.16 is the lowest one. Then you would choose this one, okay? But as an investor, you choose the highest one. So what rate of interest per compounding period would allow the savers to double their money in 8 compounding periods? If you still remember what I told you about the periods for the exam is what? Is years. So when they refer to the periods, that's for them, that's in 8 years. So it's not the J, compounding cannot be 8, but the years goes to the end. So I'll put the 8 compounding periods in here. Now, they give you absolutely nothing in the question. And people look at it and say, so what do I do? I said, you add your own numbers. So if I say double the money, and if I give you $10, can you double it? What would that be? Then you would put $20 into the future value. What if I say, I'll give you $100 as your present value? What would you do with the future value? You will do $200 plus money's future value. $1, $2, $2, $4. Double it, just put any numbers you want. Simple. If I say triple, 1 and 3. Okay? So on the exam, they usually ask you to double the money. So in this case, that's what they're referring to, right? Double the money. So I'll just leave it as 100 and 200. Make sure one is positive, one is negative. There's no payments when somebody's doing investment in here. So we'll just keep it as is. And because the only thing that we have that's given to us, we have no payments, but we do have the N, and N is given to you in years, then put that PYR as 1. And now you can do the question. That's it. That's all you have to do in here. So start with PYR. Put 1 shift PYR on the U payment. 8 shift N if you want, or 8N. It will come up as 8, 100, PV, 0 plus minus, PMT, and double it. So 200 plus minus future value. So you can put any numbers you want. At the end, we're all going to have the exact same answer. Press you IYR. IYR came up to 9.0507, right? So it should be option number 4. How do you double check? How do you know if it's J1? Even though PYR is 1, but how do you double check? You press shift, and then you press effective. Every time you press shift effective, it converts it to J1. Good. So it should stay the same. It should not change on this one. Question 21. So put a star next to this question. This is a very common question in the exam. They like this one. So what do we have in here? We have a private investor who expects to receive the $300 per month. So this is the first time we have an investor who gets the payments, but it doesn't matter. Payment is a payment. You're still going to put it as your PMT. For the period of 17 years, as a result of the mortgage loan she has just advanced. Calculate the investors' expected yield expressed as a nominal rate with a semi-annual compounding. So what they're looking for is the big number, which is nominal, with a semi-annual. So they're looking for the J2. That's all they're looking for on her investment if the loan was of the amount of $23,250. Okay, so what we're going to do right now, we'll just pull up all the information that we have, okay, and see what happens. So I have a mortgage payment of $300 per month. I'm putting my dot. It's like putting my foot down. So if my mortgage payment is $300 per month, that means my PYR and my N also has to be per month. So if my payment is monthly, my PYR has to be what? It has to be 12. And my N has to be also in months. It's given to me for 17 years. So I'll do the 17 shift N, and then will come up as 2 or 4 months in there when I multiply by 12. But I'm just going to fill that up. Mortgage amount is $23,250. That's my PV. Okay, so 250. What else do we have? We don't have the future value, so we'll assume it's a 0 plus minus future value. And I'm just looking for the rates right now. But my question to you, what am I finding here? That will be a big number, it will be nominal, but would that be a J2 or would that be a J12? How do you know what you're finding in here? Look back at your PYR. Your PYR right now is what? Is 12. And why is it 12? Because your payment is monthly, so you have to have it as 12. So this is going to come up as J what? It will come up as a J12 that is equals to whatever that thing we find. But look what they're asking you for. They're asking you for J2. At this point, it doesn't matter because you can't put 2 in here. There's no way that you can put 2 because if you put 2, that means that payment becomes semi-annually. It doesn't make sense. So your job is to keep everything consistent. So let's find this J first. And then when you find this, then we're going to convert it to what they want. Okay, that's what they like this question. That's why I asked you to put a star next to this one. Okay, so let's start with PYR. Let's plug this one in first. So 12 shift PYR. PYR is under your payment key. 17 shift N. You have to change this years to months. It will come up as 2 or 4 months. Skip the IYR. Let's put the 23,250 as your PV. 300 plus minus PMT, 0 plus minus future value. Don't forget about that PYR. Now you press your IYR and see what happens. I got it 1404, blah, blah, blah. So I got that. So what is this 1404? That is a nominal rate. How do you know if it's nominal? Because whatever you find in this button, it's in inches per year. So that is a big number. And that is a J12. How do you know if it's J12? Look back at your PYR. If it's all J12, so if you have PYR 12, that will come up as a J12 equals 1404. So right now you have all this information on your calculator. And you have it as a full number. Do you see that? I can't just cut the number like this. If I cut it, nothing will work for me, okay? So now they're looking for J2, and I have a J12. So I need to walk through one room to the other room. I need to go through that door, which is my J1, which is the effective one. How do you convert this to J1? What do you do? It's always the same, right? If I ask you to convert it to J1, you would automatically press shift effective, and you would be at J1. Easy. So think of it in the same way. So don't copy me, but just watch me. Right now, this 1404, it sits at your nominal rate. This 12 right now, it sits in your PYR, right? So right now we have those two keys already filled in. You already have your PYR is 12. You already have that 1404 stated in your calculator. So that's good. So if I ask you to convert it to J1, what would you do? You would just press shift effective, okay? And if I ask you to convert it to anything else, you would still press shift effective first to convert it to J1, okay? And only then you convert it to what they want. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to press shift effective. So let's press shift effective, okay? Mine came up to 14.98. Okay, so if I convert it to J1, it comes up as 14.98. And now what do? Now I convert it to what they want. They want a J2. So I'll put the PYR as 2 right now. So 2, shift PYR, and then I press shift nom, okay? And I got 14.45. And what is this? That is your J2 equals 14.45. How do I know it's J2? Because look at your PYR. PYR was 2. So that is your J2, okay? So basically, whatever the rate you have on your screen at this point, you can always change it to what they want, okay? Just make sure that you be consistent on your initial steps. Make sure everything is in the same frequency as your payments frequency, and then you change it to what they want. So if I ask you for J4, outside of this question, but if I ask you to J4, what would you do, okay? What would you do? You would press shift effective. You would do the same thing. You would press shift effective. Do that right now. So press shift effective. Comes up as 14.98 again, right? To come back to the same number. And then instead of that 2, what would you do there? You would put 4. Shift PYR, do right now 4 shift PYR and then press shift nom, okay? And when you got this one, it will come up as 14.20583, right? So what's this? That is your J4. What if I ask you to convert it to J365? What would you do? You would press shift effective. You would come back again to that 14.98. And instead of 4, you would put, or instead of 2, you would put 365 in there. 365 shift PYR, and then you would press shift nom. So do it right now. So shift effective, and then 365 shift PYR, shift nom. And my J365 came up to, let's see, it came up to 13.9620. That's just an extra practice for you, right? So you can always convert it to what you want. So can you go back to J12 again? How do you do that? Press shift effective. Do that right now. So shift effective. Back to that 14.98. Then instead of 2, press 12. Shift PYR, shift nom. And it will come back to 14.04. Okay? If I want to go back to 2, you press shift effective. And then 2, shift PYR, shift nom. And you're back to that 14.45. Sorry, I give you a lot of extra steps, but it's good for you. It's for your benefit. That's it, okay? So question 32. A private investor expects to receive $281.72 per month for a period of 17 years as a result of a mortgage loan that he just purchased for $21,000. Calculate the investor's expected yield expressed as a nominal rate with a semi-annual compounding. Same question. Try to do this one on your own. Nominal rate with a semi-annual. So they're looking for the J2, okay? Pull up all the information out of the question. Payment is $281.72. plus minus. Mortgage is 21,000. 17 years, shift N, will come up as 204. Future value is 0. And because my payment is monthly, PYR has to be 12, right? So everything will be monthly because payments is monthly. So find the IYR by yourself. Do that right now. 12 shift NOM. Sorry, 12 shift PYR. 17 shift N. 21,000 PV. 281.72 plus minus. Payments 0 plus minus future value. So I got 14.77. Let me know if you got the same number. 14.7712. Right? So this is my J what? If my payments were monthly, PYR was monthly, that is a J12 equals 14.77. Is that what they're looking for? Is that what they want? They want the J12? No, they want a J2. So what do you do? How do you convert it? You're going to forget about the first two steps. You're not doing those ones. But you're going to do the last three steps of the pattern. So you're going to press shift effective. Okay? Mine came up as 15.81. That's your J1. And then I need to convert it to J2. So I'll do 2 shift PYR. Okay? So 2 shift PYR, shift NOM. And when I press shift NOM, comes up as 15.233, blah, blah, blah. So that is a J2 equals. So you took your J12 and you converted. How do you convert it? You forget about the first two steps. We call it the Eppin formula. You press the effective to convert it to J1, and then you change the p-value to what they're looking for, which is 2, and then you press shift NOM, and it comes up to J2 equals 15.23. Okay? So last two questions, you guys. Come on, we can do this. So question 33, the nominal rate of 8% per annum compounded semi-annually is not equivalent to. First of all, you have to see what we have, and we have 8% compounded semi-annually. So that is your J2 equals 8%. And what they're looking for, they say which one is not equivalent to. That means which conversion does not match. So if you're going to take this J2 equals 8 every single time, and you're going to convert it to what they want, effective, which is your J1, if you convert it to quarterly, if you convert it to monthly, daily, whatever you convert it to, if that conversion does not matches the answer, that's probably the answer then. Okay, that's what they're looking for. If it does not matches your conversion, that becomes an answer, which one is not equivalent to. Okay, so there's two things you have to watch for. First of all, to see which one does not match, which is good. And the other thing, look for differences between the nominal rate and the periodic rates. That's it. That's the only thing. I'll show you how to look for that. When you do conversion from 8%, every single time, doesn't matter what you're trying to convert it to, how far is the conversion will go to? So let me show you what I mean by this. So if I'm converted, so I'm going to look at option by option. So effective is your J1. So first I'm going to convert to J1. Second one is the quarterly. So I'll convert it to J4. Third one is monthly. So I'm going to convert it to 12. The fourth one is daily, 365. Okay. So I'm going to take my J2 and convert it to what they want. Okay. This is what I'm going to be doing right now at this point. And whatever does not matches at the end, that should be the answer, okay? But some of the answers, if I look at them, they look very, very, very small compared to 8. And every time when I do conversion, doesn't matter what I convert it to, we already know that the final result will be very close to 8. It's going to be close, could be a couple cents high, could be a couple cents lower, but it doesn't go all the way to 1. It doesn't go all the way to 4. So just by looking at the answers, I can already tell you that they're not referring to a nominal. They're not looking for a big number. They're looking for that quarterly rate, or they're looking for the monthly rate, they're looking for something small. So for that reason, sometimes we'll do the conversion, and you still have to check and see, okay, do I have to divide it by that frequency? Do I have to get to a smaller number, or do I keep it as is? So that's the only thing you have to look for. So a little bit of extra steps in some of them. So look at this. If I look at the first one, it comes to 8.16. I know it's a big number, so I don't have to do any division in any way. So let's convert it to J1. Let's see how much it comes up to. So if I take 8 shift NOM, and then do 2 shift PYR shift effective, I can just stop right here. Okay, so let me write it down. A2, and then press effective. It'll come up to 8.16. What's this? That is a J1. Effective shows a J1. And is that what they're looking for? An effective annual rate of 8.16. Those two match. And that's not what they're looking for, because they say which one is not equivalent to. Okay? So basically, that's not the answer then, because it matches my answer. Okay? Look at second one. You see how small that is compared to the real number? If I take my 8 and if I divide it, so if I convert it to 4, I'm sure it's not going to go farther than 7 point something. So if they give it to you per quarter, they're referring to a smaller number. So first I have to convert it to quarterly, get a big number, and then take that big number and divide it by 4 and see if it matches it. Okay, so how do I do this? I take 8, 2, and then convert it to quarterly. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So 8 shift NOM, then I do 2 shift PYR shift effective, 4 shift PYR shift NOM, and I got 7.92156. Okay, so I got a long number in here. So what's this? You see how nice and close that is to the original number? That's how it's supposed to be, right? But what's this? That's nominal. And they want it per quarter. So my question, can I take this big number and divide it by 4? Yes, I can. Why? Because my PYR is 4, so I'm allowed to divide it by 4. But if they ask me, can you take this and divide it by 12? Absolutely not. Because my PYR has to be in the same frequency as what they want. So if they want per quarter, let's see what happens. Let's take this one. Let's divide it by 4, and let's see how much it comes up to. So divide it by 4, and it will come up to 1.980 something. And if I look back at the answer, yeah, it matches it. So that means it's also not the answer. Because they ask you which one is not equivalent to, which one does not match. Next one, they want it monthly, compounded per annum. They want a big number, compounded monthly. Just by looking at the question, just by looking at the answer, I can already tell you that is a false statement. Why? Because we know when we do conversion, we don't go farther than 7 point something, 8 point something. It's going to be close. But in this case, it says per annum. It's a big number, compounded monthly. I know for sure that it just doesn't, there's no way that I'm going to convert 8 and it's going to be close to 4%. It's just no way. Okay, so, but we'll do it anyways. Do you have to do the full impact every time? You don't really have to. You can just press shift effective a couple of times until you come back to that 8.16 if that's what you want, and then continue here. But I'll pretend I'm doing from the beginning. So 8, 2, and 12. So 8 shift norm, 2 shift PYR shift effective, 12 shift PYR shift norm. My J came up to 7.8698, blah, 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 right? That number. So that is a J12 equals 7.86 something. So what do? Now, if you still want to try to divide it by 12, you can try it, but it's not going to be close to what they gave us. If I divide it by 12, just to check, it's still going to come up as 0.65. So I know that none of those two matches the option number 3. So option 3 will be the answer, okay? Because it's not even close to what I have. Let's do the last one. Right, so what you can do, you can just press shift effective a couple of times until you come back to 8.16 because all of the effectives will be the same. This effective will not change. All of them will be 8.16. All of them. Okay, so sometimes it's just easy to press shift effective to come back to that and then continue to what they want. So I just press shift effective and now I want to go to 365. So I'll put that 365 as a new PYR. So 365 shift PYR shift norm. And my norm came up to 7.84498, blah, blah, blah. And what do they want? 7.84 per annum. So that's perfect. It matches it. So option number 3, this one is the one that did not match, right? So this is the one that did not match, and for that reason, it becomes the answer. Okay, last one. Promise, no more. You already hate me, I know that. Okay, so this is the same question as what we just did with the different numbers in there, just so you have extra practice. We have a rate that's given to us as a J2 semi-annually that equals 18%, and they're asking you for the same thing, which one is not equivalent to. So if you converted that J2 18 to all of the rates that whatever does not match, that's the one that they're looking for. So what do we have in here? Effective J1, second option quarterly, that's 4, then monthly and daily. So same idea. Okay. So we need to convert them. We need to convert them to match them up. And which one does not match the conversion? That's the answer that you're looking for. Effective is the easiest one. So you're gonna do 18 shift norm, 2 shift PYR shift effective, and you can stop. Okay. It will come up to 18.81. So from now on, all of the effectives will be 18.81 for all of the options in there for you, right? So if you want to come back to shift effective, you can just press it so you don't have to press all the other things in there. Okay, so option 1 matches it, so that means it's not the answer. Option number 2, compounded quarterly, so we want to convert it to quarterly. But you see how small that is compared to 18? That means they were looking for that smaller number. They're looking for the periodic rate. So I can just press shift effective, and then I can put 4 shift PYR, or you can do the full and PEP, and it's up to you, okay? It's up to you. Okay, so 4 shift PYR shift norm. All I'm going to do is press shift effective, 4 shift PYR shift norm. I got 17.61. Okay, so this is what I got. This is how nice and close that is, which is perfect. That is a J4. So if I want it quarterly, they don't specify what they're looking for, but the number is so small, then I will assume they're looking for periodic rate, so I'll divide it by 4 to see if it's anything close to the answer, and it comes up to 4.40, so it comes up exactly how it is. So option 2 also matches the answer, so that's not the one. Option 3, they want it monthly, and look how small that is, so that means it's going to be per month. So let's see what we can do. We can just press shift effective a couple of times until we get back to that 18.81, okay? When you get back to that 18.81, all of them will have the same 18.81 as a J1. Then you can change your PYR to 12. So I'll put 12 shift PYR now, and then press shift norm. And I got 17.3559. Okay, so this is what I got in my nominal rate. Small number, so I will assume they wanted monthly, so I'll divide it by 12. And I got 1.4466. So is that what we have in here? The option 3 talks about 1.3, and I got 1.446. I know that's the one that they're looking for. This is the one that does not match the conversion. Okay, last one, let's just check. Come back to J1. How do you come back to J1? Press shift effective a couple of times, and then you'll come back to 18.81 again. Change your PYR to 365. Okay, so 365 shift PYR. So shift effective and then 365 shift PYR shift norm, and I got 17.23. Okay, and they give me a small number, so I assume they're looking for a daily rate. So I'm going to divide it by 365 equals 0.047. And yes, it does match the answer. So option 3 is the only one that does not match. Oh my gosh, that was a long class. Even I'm tired. So this was the longest class out of all of them probably because it has so much extra information. Spend some time on the yields. Definitely do all your homework. Present value, future value. There's not much tricks in there, but the yield question is where you have to focus a little bit more, just to have a little bit more practice. Watch the videos again, do your homework. So when you do homework, try to do this first by yourself, and then you can watch the solutions. Melanie have a step-by-step solution for every single question. Okay, so finish your homework and I'll see you on the class number 4.